land in Ohio during the rut. Just because there are quite a few big deer there doesn't make things easy. The hunting pressure on some of the public land there can make things really tough, but if you hunt differently than everyone else, it can pay off. On my trip to Ohio this year, it was pretty tough. EHD had swept through the area, and there really wasn't a lot of deer to hunt on the public land we had been hunting for the past several years. So me and a couple of my friends found another public land area about 30 miles down the road that had a lot of deer, but a lot of hunters. All the places I looked in there that looked good, either somebody was already sitting there or there was a stand there and somebody was going to be sitting there and it already had a lot of pressure on it. So what I did was I found a thicket, and it was so thick that I had to crawl through most of it to get in there, and nobody had been hunting that. I couldn't find any hunter sign in there, but I was finding good buck sign, good rubs, and a scrape, and there's some beds in there as well. I tried to set up immediately, and as I was setting up I could hear deer walking around. So I got set up. I couldn't get my camera arm and my ratchet strapped down because I knew it would be making a bunch of noise, and if you're that close to deer, they hear unnatural noises like that, they're going to leave. So I got set up. I done 4 quick short grunts, kind of like this, just about like that, nothing too aggressive. I had a nice 6-point come run behind me, grunting back at me, but he couldn't see me. And while he was looking for me, I could hear walking coming through the swamp, and that big buck was coming toward me with a doe, and she got by me. I didn't move a muscle, and a few minutes later he come out, and I got a good shot on him. He didn't run 15 yards and fell over right in front of me and died. So it worked out really good for me, but I just had to do something really different that a lot of people wouldn't have been doing, and I'd like to have been a lot higher than I was, but I was only 4 or 5 feet off the ground when I killed this buck. So sometimes doing something differently can definitely work out. That's exactly where I was at when I killed that big buck. I would have liked to have been higher, but I couldn't get any higher due to the fact that there was too many limbs in front of me and I couldn't have sent an arrow through them. The buck I took was bedding in this thick swamp with a doe. I found several doe beds and a couple of rubs and scrapes he made in there. They could stay in that thick swamp all day without hunting pressure because it is such a hard place to hunt with a bow. Most people wouldn't want to try and hunt in a spot like that, but that's where the deer will be. One thing I've noticed in observing deer is a lot of times in a big buck bed, they'll defecate in their own bed and lay in it. And now in doe beds, I don't ever see that. The doe will typically defecate somewhere else instead of in its bed. I found a bed not too far from where I killed my buck, and I believe it was his bed, and I found where he had defecated in it, and his bed was actually not very far from a doe's. Here's the recovery footage of the deer. I feel bad I didn't get it on film, but I didn't want to spook any of the deer because as I was getting my climber in that cypress tree, I could hear them walking around, so I had to be really quiet about what I was doing, and I just didn't want to take any chances with that ratchet strap in my camera arm. It didn't take long for them to come out. I think I had the deer killed in about 30 minutes. I didn't even sit down. I didn't want to make a lot of noise trying to get my seat out, so I just stood there the whole time and waited.
The good Lord really blessed me today with a beautiful buck. Got him really close to where he was bedding. Done a few grunts, and he came in. I shot him probably about 5 or 6 yards away. I couldn't have got him on film. It was right in my face. I got literally right where he's been bedding with a doe, and he's been making some fresh sign. It's been kind of tough, but just blessed with a beautiful public land Ohio buck.
Remember, when you're hunting highly pressured public land, hunt differently than everybody else. It will work out if you go where the deer are, and sometimes you may have to be a little more aggressive with them, especially if you're on an out-of-state hunt like I was, because I didn't have a lot of time. Thank you all for watching. I'll have some more videos up hopefully here soon.